Rapture Guns and Knives store was the victim of a burglary this morning. At about 1:42, we received an alarm call at the Rapture Gun and Knife store on 8100 block of US Highway 98 North. When we arrived, what we determined was two suspects had broken into the store, stole approximately 40 firearms, and fled. From the time they broke in to the time the alarm company notified us was 9 minutes. Our arrival was 2 minutes once we were told about this. But be that as it may, we have coached our gun stores about the absolute necessity, the ethical and moral responsibility to secure their guns when they're not there. They either have to lock the guns into a vault, a safe, or in the environment of a huge store, they've got to make that store a vault or a safe. The responsible ones do. On December the 13th, after we already had one burglary into another gun store that was not appropriately secured, detectives went to the Rapture Gun and Knife store and spoke with the owner, who's 27 years old, Ben Pollock. And we talked to him specifically about installing some security features at his business. He told our detectives that safes are too expensive, and if we put cables through and lock them up, they'll just cut the cables anyway. Well, Ben, here's your sign. They broke into your store last night and they took 40 guns. But you know what's upsetting about that? Those guns are going to be sold on the streets. People like the man who shot an Orlando police officer is going to have those guns. People that have those guns are going to put them in the face of others and rob them and shoot them. These guns all go to the street. They all go to criminals. They all go to thugs. And those thugs rob and shoot and murder people. Gun store owners, you have an ethical and moral obligation to protect those guns when you're not there, as well as when you are there, and make sure that it is absolutely so difficult for them to get to those firearms that we can arrive before they can get through your security measures. If you do that, then you won't have these kinds of burglaries. At the same time, this break-in is occurring. Our deputies are dealing with a guy that's a convicted felon that runs from them last night and throws down a gun. Guess what? The gun's stolen out of Bartow. My point is, if we want to stop these folks with guns on the street, one of the main ways we do that is the owners of the guns to be responsible. You have to lock them up in your homes in order to keep people from stealing them. You certainly have to lock them up in a gun safe. But they went into this store without much resistance at all, stole 40 guns, and were way, way, way away before we ever got the call.
What is the law as far as locking up gun stores?
There's no more, no less responsibility. They have to they don't have to lock up their guns legally. As far as I know, they could leave their stores unlocked at night. They might as well for the lack of security they have. They'd leave them unlocked and just set them on top of the counters, and they wouldn't get all their stuff tore up while they were stealing them, because they're going to take them anyway where there's not sufficient security. And what they've done is whoever broke into that store has been in that store in the last few days or the last month and saw how easy a pushover it was. Now, You can call me a prophet if you want. But this won't be the last burglary of a gun store if the people that run gun stores don't secure their guns.
Sheriff, we saw a videotape. Do you have any leads based on?
We are working now to develop leads. And our goal certainly is to arrest the people that are responsible for that. But I would suggest to you that even when we determine who they are and successfully take them into custody, they won't have any of the guns. Maybe one or two for their personal use. They will have dumped them all on the street for a huge amount of cash money.
Should they be forced to have beefed up security measures because of what you're talking about?
Certainly, I think so, and I can't imagine that the insurance company wants to keep absorbing this. That I like, you know, I'm one of these conservatives, and I believe in this libertarian principle about you take care of yourself and I'll take care of myself. And the reality of it is, I can't believe the free market enterprise is not taking care of this. I can't believe that the insurance companies aren't going, hey, you know, before we'll insure this property in your store, before we'll give you insurance, you've got to do these things. I prefer the free market enterprise take care of it. But if they're not, then we've got to do something more stringent.
You think like the county commission or who would?
We're reviewing those options now of what we need to do for the gun stores that won't appropriately secure their premises. If you have weak locks, weak security, weak storage, you can absolutely, unequivocally know somebody's going to break in and take your stuff. This shouldn't come as a shock. Over 50% of the items that will be stolen in this county this year and every other county across the state and nation, over 50% of it's not locked up. If people would lock their cars, close their garage, and lock their sliding glass window, you would see our crime fall precipitously. But gun store owners have a moral and an ethical obligation to protect their guns. Guns don't hurt people. People hurt people. And when two guys can go in and take 40 guns, that I would suggest to you probably an average of $400 or $500 a piece, it's not a bad night.
Will you be able to trace those guns when you find them?
Yes,
Next?
we will be able to trace them.
You'll know exactly what store they came from?
Yes, exactly. Eventually, unfortunately, we'll find the vast majority of those guns, but where we'll find them is at the scenes of robberies and murders, and law enforcement officers will risk their lives getting them back from the person who is armed illegally to have them. And that's what frustrates us so bad. 40 guns on the street, law enforcement officers will have to risk their lives getting those back from thugs and convicted felons, because that's where they are on the streets, and it shouldn't happen. It's totally irresponsible the way they secured those guns.
Subject just a little bit. We had I guess the guy from Orlando, is he still on the loose?
He was before I came into the
So,
briefing.
You have people, I imagine, on the lookout all over the state. Any thoughts about him coming here, where he might be heading?
He'd make a bad mistake if he came here. He's already shot and killed an Orlando police officer. He shot at, as I understand, at least one other deputy or police officer today. Wherever he is, he better stay out of this county, because we can't take a chance on this guy. He's murdered somebody prior to today. Best thing he can do is give up, and give up quick, because I bet they have the same attitude over there. They're not risking their lives anymore. They've already risked their lives too much trying to take him into custody. It's cost an Orlando police officer their life. Our intelligence people obviously are working with them. They think they have them in a development. I think they've got a SWAT team that they've called out up there. I don't know how accurate that is, but I can assure you of one thing. That is a hugely dangerous person, and it's painfully obvious. He's already murdered and shot somebody in addition to his sister-in-law that he murdered. Then he's murdered this police officer this morning and shot at another law enforcement officer. We're not taking any more chances with that dude. Any questions? Thank you all very much.